Have you ever wondered if you have a narcissistic parent? Have you always felt like something was wrong in your family dynamic? Let's talk about the 7 signs of a narcissistic parent. Hi everyone, I'm Sarah from Trauma Recovery Coaching. I am a certified coach specializing in abuse recovery from narcissistic, sociopathic, and psychopathic abuse. Toxic or narcissistic parents will always have at least a few unhealthy personality traits and behaviors in common. Here are the 7 key behaviors and signs that are typically seen in narcissistic and toxic parenting. Number 1, lack of empathy. Narcissistic people have little to no empathy for everyone except for themselves. Narcissistic behavior is very selfish and inconsiderate to their chosen target at home, and they often show false empathy to others to look like a superficially good person. When a narcissistic parent lacks empathy, they can act like they're the only person in the world who has ever gone through anything, even if the issue is only a minor inconvenience, and they will view their child's problems as having no worth. The narcissistic parent will invalidate their child by comparing their child's issue or pain to something extremely irrelevant. The narcissist can rewrite any part of the narrative that they choose in order to downgrade and berate their child. The narcissist rewrites the script to make the child believe that they are ungrateful for what they have, and then the child will feel guilt and shame for having basic needs and feelings. Number 2, a sense of entitlement over their children. A narcissistic parent will see their child as their property instead of giving their child the ability to develop their own sense of self and identity. The narcissistic parent always has to be in charge. They will typically see children and people as either fully good and they can do no wrong, or fully bad and they can do nothing right. The main reason why someone is fully bad in a narcissist's eyes is because they are typically an individual who has a strong sense of right and wrong. Someone who is empathic. They are the truth teller that calls out the narcissist on their bad behavior, or someone who will not be controlled as they have a strong sense of self. A narcissist has the entitled mindset where they can hurt others and still expect an apology from their victim, even when their victim has done nothing wrong. The more vulnerable narcissistic types are typically out for revenge and will use their child's past wounds in order to get their supply. Number 3, they need everything to be perfect. If things are not perfect in a narcissist's eyes, there will be trouble. A narcissist has a deep need to look perfect to the outside world. This is one reason why narcissists force children into silence, and why the phrase, "what happens at home stays at home," is so common in narcissistic households. A narcissist needs the outside world to view them as perfect and to view them as someone who can do no wrong, because they need to hide the way they abuse their children, how they often abuse their spouse or significant other, and sometimes one or more people from their work or their extended family. A narcissistic parent may have a little or a lot of grandiosity, but a narcissist is very insecure about themselves. They often fear that they are not enough, so they force perfection on people in their lives that they can control the most, which in turn makes the narcissistic parent seem like the most ideal parent. This makes the child growing up in the narcissistic household unheard by outsiders, as the narcissistic parent has already painted themselves in a very positive light. And the narcissist can twist the narrative onto the child being bad, and the narcissistic parent can be seen as the great and unappreciated parent that just puts up with a lot. Number 4, an excessive need for control. A narcissistic parent has an excessive need for control. For this, they use many different manipulation tactics to create their ideal life for their own selfish desires. With this, a narcissistic parent writes the script to where their children either become the golden child, the child who can do no wrong, and often sides with the narcissist for survival, the scapegoat, the child who is blamed for everything, speaks out against injustices, and has the biggest target on themselves for the abuse. and the lost child. The lost child is the child that is not praised or blamed. They are forgotten and ignored in the family dynamics. The roles of golden child, scapegoat, and lost child can be in a set position, or they can be switched at any time during the abuse. If the family only has 2 children, the golden child and the scapegoat roles are the typical roles that are filled. If there are more than 3 children in the family dynamic, it is possible that the narcissistic parent has more than 1 child in each role. If a single child is being raised by a narcissistic parent, the child may take on both the scapegoat and golden child roles, depending on the very day. Number 5, gaslighting. This is a classic narcissistic abuse tactic. Gaslighting is when someone tries to alter your sense of reality. It is a form of manipulation to force you to not trust yourself and to get you to believe that your reality is the falsified version being told to you. You begin to believe their lies. We had no other choice but to believe them, as they were our authority figures, our parental role models, and they were all we ever knew. They were supposed to love and care for us, but they chose to alter our reality to fit their own narrative instead. When you were gaslit, you were left feeling confused. The victim's reality is denied. The victim may have spoken up about something, and then they were shut down when the narcissist says something like, "I never said that, you're remembering wrong," or "It was just a joke, you can never take a joke." Or the narcissist may insult their victim and say, "You're crazy, you're too sensitive, you're too emotional, you're a drama queen," or some other negative term. The gaslighting we hear from a narcissistic parent unfortunately embeds itself into our minds, and we begin to self-gaslight as a result of the continuous emotional abuse. Number 6, they are competitive. Narcissistic parents compete with their children. A narcissist can start to feel insecure when their growing child begins to look more mature and like an adult. Looks mean a lot to a narcissist, and if a narcissist is aging, they feel the need to compete with their children's youth. A narcissistic parent can also compete with their children by one-upping them. The narcissistic parent may compare their accomplishments to their child's, like, "I could already do that when I was younger than you. Why can't you do it?" When the narcissist most likely couldn't even do that themselves. Or they can pit the siblings against each other by comparing their accomplishments. And finally, number 7, pitting children against each other. Triangulation. Narcissists will triangulate children so that they will have ostracized one child out of the family loop. The narcissist will tell their children lies about one another and cause a division between them. A narcissist cannot stand peace in the family. They want to divide and conquer. When siblings in the narcissistic family dynamic are divided, there is more control for the narcissist. The narcissist can manipulate the children by using smear campaigns, which are lies spread about the children to influence and ruin the reputation of the child to someone else or the other sibling. Once the narcissist has the upper hand in this situation, the golden child sibling will side with the narcissist, and the scapegoat will be left out. The lack of connection between the siblings makes it harder for everyone to discover this toxic dynamic. The narcissist looks like the hero in this case to the golden child, and then the golden child builds up hate and resentment for the scapegoat. If anything has resonated with you, please leave a comment down below. Thank you for listening.